You wake to silence, but not the ordinary kind. Not the hush of a quiet morning, or the stillness that comes when snow blankets a city. No, this is an older silence, one that seems to have settled long before you arrived and will remain long after you leave. The air is thick, warm, golden, not oppressive, just present, like soft cloth pressed gently against your skin. You're not lying in bed. You're not sitting in a chair. You're upright, somehow, standing though you don't remember getting up or arriving here. The light has a colour you've never seen in real life, something between amber and bone. It doesn't flicker, but it doesn't stay still either. It moves as if remembering how. Beneath your feet, stone, smooth, cool, worn flat by more footsteps than you can imagine. Walls rise to either side, close enough to feel intimate, but not so tight as to press. They bear no markings, just the subtle curves of human design, something chiseled not to impress, but to last. The silence stretches. You try to speak maybe just a name, a question, a sound, but your throat is dry, and the space itself seems to hush you before you start. Then a breeze. It drifts from nowhere. There's no door, no open window, just air, slow and fragrant, brushing past your cheek. The scent is unfamiliar, but not strange, something warm, resinous and ancient, like myrrh crushed by hand, or linen long steeped in sun and time. You inhale slowly. It doesn't just fill your lungs, it settles somewhere deeper, in your chest, in your stomach, in the space behind your ribs. And then a shape. At first, you think it's a shadow, long, human-shaped, and still, but it moves, not toward you, not away, just waiting. He stands at the far end of the corridor, draped in white. The cloth flows around his frame in folds that seem caught between movement and memory. His face is veiled, or perhaps your eyes refuse to see it clearly. But he raises one hand, not to greet, not to stop you. Just a gesture, calm, open, precise. The kind of gesture that doesn't ask, it knows you'll follow. And somehow, without any decision, you do. Your feet begin to move. The stone is silent beneath them. Your breath evens out, and your pulse, if you can still feel it, slows to match the rhythm of your steps. He turns without hurry and you walk behind him. The hallway begins to widen, not suddenly, more like a breath being drawn, one long inhale of space. The light shifts, now with a golden undertone that feels almost honeyed, sweet, heavy. You begin to notice details. The stone is no longer plain. Carvings begin to appear, first faint, then deeper, curves that suggest lotus petals, lines that might be waves or wind or sound, a story without words, told in texture. On the walls, painted figures, not many, just a few, each one frozen mid-movement, a hand raised, a head bowed, an offering held out towards someone unseen. The paint is faded, but not gone. Ochre, blue, rust red, the occasional glint of gold. Their eyes do not follow you, but you still feel seen. The man in white doesn't speak. You wouldn't expect him to. He leads, as if this has always been your path, as if the space was carved long ago with your footsteps in mind. And then, sound. Faint, like memory. A soft hum, low and steady. You're not sure if it comes from ahead or behind, or inside you. It pulses in the air like heat, like a distant drum played with the palm of a careful hand. Your mind tries to measure it, to name it, but your body has already accepted it. It's not music, it's direction. You realize you're no longer trying to understand where you are. The place has unhooked that question from your thoughts and set it aside. Instead, there's a knowing this place isn't meant to be understood. It's meant to be entered. You pass through a final arch carved with symbols you don't know but almost recognize, and the corridor opens into something wider. Still not a room, not a hall. It's a space between life and ritual, between breath and stillness. Above, the ceiling soars and vanishes into shadow. Around you pillars, tall, painted, wrapped in vines and flowers you know don't grow here anymore if they ever did. And there, at the center, a figure lies still, wrapped in white, gold at the face, hands crossed, feet together, raised slightly, on a platform carved from wood so dark it swallows the light, surrounded by bowls, jars, flowers, bundles of reeds, long strips of linen that seem to dance even though no wind moves. This is not a room of mourning. It's a room of preparation. Around the edges, people stand. They do not cry. They do not wail. They watch. And somewhere behind them you now realize, so do you. You are not late. You are just in time. He stands still for a long time. Not frozen, not lost, just waiting. His robe is the color of sun-bleached cloth, soft and unmoving. It falls in straight lines, as if drawn by a calm hand. The fabric covers everything but his hands, which are brown, dry, weathered, like old driftwood or the desert itself. No jewelry, no markings, just skin that has known the heat of decades. He doesn't speak, but you understand. This is the guide. Not in the way modern people think, not a tour, not a helper. He is not here to answer your questions. He is here to bring you forward into something you haven't earned but have been invited to. He raises a hand again, not up, just slightly to the side, an opening gesture, and then he turns. You follow. Your steps feel slower now, not heavy but thoughtful, maybe even respectful. Each one lands carefully, as if not to disturb the stone. You don't look back. The air is cooler the deeper you go. It moves gently, not as breeze, but as presence, as if something just left the room or is about to enter. The corridor narrows again. Columns close in, each carved with faces you don't recognize, but don't fear. They're not meant to frighten. They are watchers, witnesses. You glance up, the ceiling now is lower, painted dark blue with gold stars, hundreds of them. Not constellations, not symbols, just scattered across the sky like ancient hope. The man ahead turns left. You follow into a chamber. It is circular, quiet, like a pause in the story. Here, he stops. He steps aside, motioning toward the center of the space. There, placed on a low pedestal, is a bowl, shallow, bronze, still, and next to it a simple cloth folded neatly, pale as ashes. You don't know why, but your hands move. You dip your fingers into the bowl. The water is cool, but not cold. It carries a scent like crushed herbs and something metallic, not unpleasant, just strange, like cleansing mixed with memory. You lift a few drops to your face. They do not drip. They absorb instantly, as though your skin had waited for this. You feel no change, No sting, no warmth, but something has shifted. The man watches, and then he turns again, walking to the opposite side of the chamber. There, a new hallway opens darker, narrower. You follow again. This time, the walls press in. Not claustrophobic, not menacing, just close. As though you're moving through a throat being swallowed not in fear, but in welcome. The floor changes. Stone gives way to packed earth. Cooler now, drier. Torches line the way, placed in clay holders shaped like open hands. Their flames do not flicker. They burn steady and straight, as though the air itself is holding still for them. Then, ahead, a sound. A drum. Deep, slow, distant. One beat. Wait. Another. Your heart doesn't speed up. It slows to match it. You're not walking now, you're gliding, floating almost. Not because the ground is gone, but because your feet no longer carry all your weight. And then, light. Not daylight, something else. A fire lit without source, golden and soft, glowing through linen screens. A second figure appears. Another man, robed, slightly taller. His hands marked with soot and oil. He holds something wrapped in cloth. Something long, slender, a staff, a tool. He bows. Not to you, to the first man, then to the air between you. You realize this isn't for you. None of it is. You're a guest, a permitted observer. You've entered a space designed for someone else. And that someone else has not yet arrived, but they will. The two men walk side by side now, leading you onward. The air grows warmer again, scented with resin, faintly sweet. Something is burning, not visibly, but you can taste it in the back of your throat. A curve in the corridor, then another, and suddenly, you emerge. A great hall opens in front of you. Massive columns rise like tree trunks, their tops blooming into palm fronds painted blue and green and gold. The ceiling soars, far above sight. Everything smells of oil, of cedar, of dust that hasn't moved in years. And at the center a platform, and upon the platform the body. Wrapped tight in white linen, hands crossed, a mask of gold resting on the face, serene, closed-eyed, unmoving. Around the room, people wait. Women with hair unbound, men standing with staffs, figures seated on low stools. Everyone is turned toward the center. But no one speaks. No one moves. The air is waiting. And so are you. The two men who led you here take their places, one near the platform, the other by a row of jars made from alabaster. Each jar bears a head. Not human. A jackal, a baboon, a falcon, a man. They stare forward, still and quiet. You step back, nearly to the edge of the room. No one seems to see you, but no one stops you. You are part of this, now. The silence grows deeper. Not heavier, just more complete. And then, a whisper, a chant, a breath. The ritual is about to begin. It begins with breath. Not yours, not anyone's in the room, but the breath of space itself, a soft exhale that seems to move through the columns, along the stone, across the polished floor. It's not loud. You could miss it if you weren't already still. But you are, and so you feel it. A hush that deepens, a waiting that sharpens. Something is about to begin. The man on the platform does not move. He has not moved since you entered. His body is wrapped tightly in linen, folded and wound in precise layers. There's no chaos to it. Each wrapping seems placed with care, ritual, reverence. The golden mask on his face does not reflect light the way metal usually does. It glows instead softly, as if the gold remembers sunlight and is trying to mimic it gently, without arrogance. His eyes are closed, sculpted into stillness. His lips curve downward slightly, not in sadness, but in peace. He looks like someone asleep beneath deep water. Around him, offerings have been placed baskets of dates, polished jars of perfumed oil, clusters of dried lotus flowers, fans made from palm and feathers, bowls of salt and honey, tiny folded cloths embroidered with prayers in lines too fine to read. They are not arranged for viewing. They are tools for the next world. The air shimmers slightly, not with heat, but with memory. The scent of cedar and frankincense hangs like a fine veil, softening every edge, turning movement into something slower, more graceful. One woman steps forward. Her hair is unbound, falling in thick, dark waves across her back. Her face is bare. Her eyes are rimmed red. She holds a narrow vial carved from stone so pale it's nearly translucent. She uncorks it and pours a thin line of oil across the ground at the base of the platform. Then she kneels. Her hands tremble. Her lips move. You hear no sound. Another woman joins her, older, with sun-worn skin and strong shoulders. She holds a bundle of herbs tied with twine, browned at the edges. She brushes it across the man's feet 3 times, then crushes it in her palm and lays it on the stone beside him. Then she, too, kneels. They don't cry, not loudly, but their bodies speak grief. One rocks slowly. The other places both palms flat on the floor, bowing until her forehead touches the stone. A priest enters from the side. You know he is a priest not by his clothing, which is plain, or by his posture, which is gentle, but by the way the air changes when he arrives, as though even the walls recognize his presence. He carries a thin rod, wrapped in linen at the center, metal at both ends. The metal is not shiny. It is dull, dark, mottled like it came not from the earth, but from the sky. You remember something, a phrase, iron from heaven. He pauses at the foot of the platform. He bows, and then he begins. Not with words, but with motion. He raises the rod and touches it gently to the mouth of the mask. He does not press. He does not strike. Just touches, and then draws it away. Again, a second time, and again. With each touch, his lips move. Whispers. Old words. You do not know them, but your body recognizes them. The kind of words spoken when you enter a sacred space, or leave one. Words meant not to explain, but to open. This is the opening of the mouth. An ancient rite. Not symbolic, not poetic. It is practical. To speak in the afterlife, the dead must have a mouth that can open, to eat, to drink, to call out their name, to remember. The priest moves now to the eyes. One side, then the other. He touches the ears, the hands, the feet. Each gesture slow, precise, unhurried. The room does not move. Even the air seems to wait for his hands to finish. Someone begins to chant. A deep voice, low and steady. Then a second joins. Then a third. The sound is not music, not in the usual sense. There is no rhythm, no melody. It is more like vibration, like the walls humming softly to themselves. The priest lifts a bowl of oil. He dips a cloth in it, then brushes it along the linen wrappings across the chest, the shoulders, the legs. As he moves, he murmurs again. His words blend into the chant like threads in a tapestry impossible to separate, but part of the whole. You notice a flicker at the edge of your vision. Not movement, but presence. A figure faint, not quite formed, not light, not shadow, standing beside the platform, where the man's car would stand, the part of him that is still here. You don't feel afraid. You don't feel anything like fear. You feel seen, not by the priest, not by the mourners, by him. He does not speak, but if he did, you know what he would say. I am not gone. The priest steps back. He lifts his arms wide. The chant fades. Silence returns. Not empty, full. The two women at the base of the platform rise slowly. One picks up the crushed herbs. The other gathers the vial. They step back. Then they kneel again, but this time in stillness. The priest raises his rod one final time and holds it over the body. Then, carefully, he lays it across the platform and bows. The rite is complete. The room does not breathe again. It simply shifts, as though the center has changed. You blink once, and when you look again, the space feels different, as if something important has now been allowed. The silence holds. It does not lift. It does not end. It deepens not in volume, but in meaning. Now that the ritual has been completed, something unseen has shifted, not in the man lying still on the platform, but in the people standing around him. You begin to notice them more clearly now, not as a group, as individuals, each one carrying something, not physically, but emotionally, quietly, in the way their shoulders hang, the way their eyes hold distance, the way their breath enters and leaves without sound. A young man stands near the base of the platform. His head is bowed. He wears no jewelry. His arms are marked by faint scars, the kind that come not from war, but from labor. His hands clench and unclench, rhythmically, as if still holding something he forgot to put down. You wonder who the man on the platform was to him. A father, a teacher, a brother. Perhaps something older, something beyond title. Beside him, a woman? Older. Her hair is braided in a crown around her head, streaked with grey. Her robe is simple, but clean, carefully wrapped. She holds a small object in her hands, something wrapped in cloth. You realize it's a figurine, a household god, maybe. One that stood in a corner of their home, quietly watching over meals and sleep and ordinary life. Now, she's brought it here to stand watch over death. Another man stands further back, tall, gaunt, skin like driftwood. His face is unreadable, not hard, not sad, just emptied. His hands are clasped behind his back, as if holding himself in place. But it's his eyes that catch you. They are fixed not on the platform, but on something far away, not in distance, in time. He is remembering something long ago, something specific. You can see it written in the furrow of his brow, the tightness of his jaw. He is not just mourning. He is reliving. Around the edges of the room, more people seated, standing, kneeling, some alone, some leaning against one another, some with eyes closed, some wide open. No one speaks, and yet the space is full of conversation. Every breath, every blink, every shift of weight they carry stories. You look again at the man on the platform. He seems smaller now, not diminished, just human. Not the figure of myth or memory, but someone who once woke with a sore shoulder, who once burned his fingers on a cooking pot, who once laughed so hard he cried. And now he is still, but he is not absent. The linen wraps him like sleep. You begin to feel the shape of his life, not through history, not through facts, but through the echoes he has left in these people. A woman near the back begins to hum. Low, barely audible, but it carries like a ripple. The note hovers in the air, uncertain at first. Then another joins her, another voice, softer, older. No words, just a thread of sound. It weaves through the hall like incense, curling around the columns, brushing gently against the ears of the watchers. A lament. No, not quite. More like a cradle song. Not for the living, for the one departing. You think of ships, of sails unfurling in the dark, of a river winding away into the stars. You think of farewells that do not need to be said aloud because they're already written into breath and bone. The humming continues. You close your eyes. You are not outside this now. You are inside it. The boundary between observer and participant has thinned. You are part of the silence, part of the sound, part of the breath moving through this hall. You open your eyes again. The young man has stepped forward. Slowly, carefully. He carries something now, a small wooden box bound in twine, sealed with wax. He kneels and places it near the platform. He does not open it. He does not explain. He simply lays his hand on top for a moment, then draws it away. The woman with the household god steps forward too. She places the figurine beside the box. They do not look at each other, but they have spoken, without words. The room holds steady. The priest is gone now, or perhaps simply melted into the edges of the room. This is not his part. This is theirs. The time for ritual has ended. Now comes the time for remembrance. Not in speeches, but in presence. No one rushes. There is no schedule here, no clock. Time moves the way it does when you're listening to the wind, or sitting beside a fire, or floating in water. Eventually, the humming fades. One voice falls away. Then another, until it is just air again. Thick, warm, alive. Someone lights a small bowl of oil. Its flame is faint, barely enough to cast shadows, but it glows softly against the wall behind the platform. The man's golden mask catches it, reflects it back not brightly, but gently, as if smiling. You step back again, toward the edge of the room. You feel no need to speak, no need to move, no need to ask what happens next. Because you already know. Next is not your part. This moment belongs to the living, and to the one who is just beyond. You don't notice him arrive. He simply is, as if he had always been part of the room, folded quietly into its corners, waiting for the right moment to breathe. The air responds first. It grows denser, but not heavy, like warm cloth draped over the shoulders, like the hush that falls before a name is spoken, the kind of quiet that carries intention. And then you see him. He is not tall, not radiant. He does not shimmer with divinity or bear a crown of gold. He is worn, soft-footed. His robe is the colour of smoke mixed with ash, a brown grey that matches the stone beneath your feet. Its edges are frayed, its folds are uneven. He walks without sound, not because he tries, but because the floor does not seem to notice him. In his left hand, he carries a small bundle wrapped in linen. In his right, a slender rod, iron dark, tapered, bound at its centre with a strip of aged leather. You realize it is not new, not even recent. It looks like something forged before memory. He pauses beside the platform. The mourners step back, not dramatically, not with show, just with a kind of reverent ease, as though they know this moment does not belong to them. The priest lifts his head slightly. You cannot see his eyes. His face is partly shadowed, his brow marked with faint horizontal lines, but his mouth is calm. Not smiling, not frowning, just still. He does not speak, but the room listens. He raises the rod, slowly, carefully, as though its weight is not physical but sacred. He brings it to the mouth of the man lying still, does not touch, waits, then lowers it. A pause, a breath, and again the rod lifts, touches the lips. This time it lingers, just for a moment, then moves to the eyes, one after the other, the ears, the palms, the soles of the feet. Every contact is delicate, as if he's knocking gently not to awaken, but to announce you are remembered. He murmurs something. You do not understand the words, but the cadence is steady, ancient. It does not sound like recitation, it sounds like conversation, as though he is speaking not to the room, nor the people, nor even to the body, but to something beyond the veil. He unwraps the linen bundle in his other hand. Inside, a small knife made of copper, a reed stylus, a vial of black ink, a miniature figure of a seated god, carved in green stone. Each item is placed with care on a mat of woven rush. Each has a purpose. None are explained. They do not need to be. The priest draws a line of oil across the brow of the body, then on down the bridge of the nose, one across the chest. The scent rises slowly: myrrh, frankincense, a trace of something bitter and sharp like crushed juniper. You feel it in your lungs before your nose. He begins to chant, not in volume, but in rhythm. Each word a drop, each phrase a step. It flows, not like music, not like speech, like wind in tall grass, like water tracing the edge of a jar. The chant circles the room. Somehow it reaches the walls, and you sense them leaning inward slightly, not physically, but spiritually. Listening. You notice others have joined him now. 3 more figures, dressed similarly, though their robes are lighter. They stand behind him, hands clasped. One carries a fan, one a small brazier, one a bowl filled with what looks like powdered gold. They do not act until he gestures, and when he does, it is wordless. A flick of the fingers, a tilt of the head. The brazier is lit. Smoke rises thin, straight, silvery. The scent changes. Now it is cedar, a breath of resin and something almost sweet. The fan begins to move, slowly, rhythmically. It does not cool. It moves the air in a circle, drawing the smoke around the body, across the priest's hands, through the silence. The powdered gold is sprinkled in a fine arc not on the body, but into the air above it. It hangs there, suspended, tiny flecks catching torchlight like dust in dreams. The priest raises his rod once more, touches the lips again, and says the final words of the opening. You know they are final, not because he stops speaking, but because the room releases a breath. A long, collective exhale. The veil is thinned. The mouth is opened. The journey may now begin. He places the rod gently on the woven mat, beside the tools. He bows. Once, then steps back. He does not leave. He remains, but not as a guide. Now, he is a witness. Like the rest, the platform holds still, but something is different. The man who lies wrapped in linen is no longer silent. Not outwardly, but within. Something has turned. A door has been opened. A voice waits on the other side. And it will speak when the time comes. For now the room falls into stillness again. Not empty, full, but quiet, listening. The room no longer feels like stone. It feels like breath. Warm, contained, timeless. You can no longer tell how long you've been here. The air folds gently around the moment, keeping it still, like linen wrapping a precious object. The priest stands at the edge of the woven mat. He looks at the tools one final time. They are small, simple, ancient, and yet they hold the weight of generations. The copper blade glints faintly, touched by torchlight. The reed stylus lies still, its tip darkened by use. The figurine of the god-green stone, chipped slightly at the edge, watches quietly from its place, as though waiting to be remembered. This is not the start of a ceremony. It is the continuation of one that began long before you arrived, and will continue long after you forget the sound of this room. The priest takes the stylus. He holds it between thumb and forefinger, like a scribe preparing to write. But he does not write. Instead, he raises it toward the face of the one who lies wrapped. Not quickly, not ceremoniously, just precisely. He pauses, then draws it gently across the mask once, just above the eyes. Then once more, down the center of the brow. Each movement is soft, careful, like brushing dust from a sacred object. This is not decoration. This is activation. The reed was once used to shape words. Now Witchcraft reawakens the mind, the seat of memory, of recognition, of identity. You do not need to know the words to understand their meaning. He sets the stylus down. Next the blade. Small, curved, worn from use, its edge darkened, not from rust, but from time. He does not cut. He traces along the edges of the mouth, across the chin, down the line of the throat. The body does not move, but the presence in the room shifts, as if a door has creaked inward. A hinge that has not turned in centuries now opens just a little more. He whispers something. Not for the room, for the one who listens from beyond. Then the most delicate act. The priest opens a small cloth pouch, folded tightly and sealed with a twist of reed fibre. Inside natron. Fine, pale, dry. He pinches a small amount between two fingers and places it gently at the corner of the lips. Then again on the brow. Then, lastly, near the heart. The salt doesn't dissolve. It holds lightly resting, a symbol of purification, of preservation, of stillness becoming readiness. The air carries the faintest crunch of granules between his fingers. Then, quiet again. The priest now turns to the figure, the small green god. You don't know its name, but its shape is familiar, seated, one hand raised, face calm, carved eyes filled with silence. He holds it to his own forehead for a moment, then gently places it on the chest of the one who lies before him. He bows, just once, and speaks a final phrase. It is not loud, but it echoes not in the room, but in the bones. It feels like a name, or something older than a name. A sound spoken not for understanding, but for recognition. You feel it settle, like dust finally coming to rest, like a bird folding its wings. The opening of the mouth is complete, but the body remains still, as it should. This was never about waking the dead in the way we think. It is about reuniting the parts of the self, the car, the bar, the name, the shadow, the heart scattered like starlight after death. This ritual calls them back, one by one, through motion, through sound, through memory, until the whole is whole again. Not here, but there. The priest gathers the tools. He wraps them again in the cloth one by one. No rush. Each item folded with care, pressed gently, returned to rest. When the bundle is tied, he places it beside the mat. He does not keep it. It will stay here with the body for the journey. A record, a map, a memory. The mourners begin to rise. One by one, they move without sound. Some reach toward the body, not to touch, just to let the air between them carry something unspoken. Some carry small offerings, a bead, a ring, a folded cloth, a flower dried and saved. Each item is placed gently beside the platform. A growing garden of remembrance. You feel something too. Not grief, exactly, but presence. You are here, and so is he. Both of you, breathing in different ways. One with lungs, one with memory. You take a step back. The priest has seated himself now on a small low stool near the platform. His eyes are closed. His hands rest palm up on his knees. He is no longer performing. He is holding space, guarding the threshold, waiting with patience shaped by years. No one speaks, but the silence is no longer empty. It is filled with completion. This part of the journey is finished. Another waits, but not yet. For now, stillness and breath, and the golden face turned softly toward the ceiling, which holds no stars, but remembers them anyway. There are watchers in the room. You didn't notice them before, not because they were hidden, but because they were still. Still in the way stone is still. Still in the way eyes carved in alabaster don't blink, but see everything. They sit along the sides of the chamber. 4 jars, each no taller than a seated child, each carved from pale stone, polished until they glow faintly in the dim firelight. At first glance they seem simple, plain, functional. But then you see their lids. And the lids are not plain. Each one is a face. Not a human face. Not entirely. One is the head of a falcon, sharp-beaked, eyes fixed forward. One is a baboon solemn, lips closed in eternal silence. One is a jackal, narrow-eyed, alert, as though listening. One is a human face, calm, smooth, ageless. They are not decoration. They are guardians. They are watching, not the room, not the people. They are watching the man on the platform, not because they mistrust him, but because their purpose is protection. They are the canopic jars, and inside them, wrapped, preserved, sealed, are his organs. Each jar holds a part of what once lived within him: the liver, the lungs, the stomach, the intestines. The heart is not here. It has its own path. But these, the others, they are guarded, not by stone alone, by spirit. Each head is a gate, each gaze a threshold. You find yourself drawn to them, not to touch, that would be wrong, but to understand. You stand before the falcon. You remember his name, Cabecenuf, protector of the intestines. You do not know why that matters, but somehow it does. He looks at you without judgment, just presence. You step to the baboon. Happy, guardian of the lungs. His face seems kind, not soft, not gentle, but aware. You imagine him remembering every breath the man ever took, every gasp, every sigh, every laugh, each one folded now into silence. The jackal, Duamutev. He is lean, narrow, fierce, protector of the stomach. You feel a tightening in your own belly, standing before him, a quiet understanding that here lies the center of courage, of hunger, of feeling. Finally, the human face, Mseti, protector of the liver. His gaze is the most direct, not unkind, but unwavering. You think of purification, of the blood, of the heart's companion organ, the one that processes, that sifts, that cleanses. They are not just containers, they are contracts between flesh and eternity, between the parts that can decay and the spirits that promise they will be watched over forever. You step back and then notice something else. On the platform surrounding the wrapped body, small objects have been placed, not at random, not for beauty, for purpose. Amulets. You count at least a dozen, and likely more hidden beneath the linen. Each one different, each carved with care. A tiny green scarab no bigger than your thumb, a symbol of rebirth, of transformation, of the sun rising again and again. A jed pillar straight, ridged, solid, the backbone of Osiris, a promise of stability after death, of not crumbling into nothingness. A wadjet eye, sometimes called the Eye of Horus, carved in lapis, deep blue, watching sideways, always sideways, a gaze that sees danger before it arrives. There are others. A knot the tight, the knot of Isis, protection in feminine form. A small anklife eternal, a miniature pair of sandals to walk the roads of the afterlife with comfort. A tiny stairway carved into a sliver of wood, each one placed with purpose, each one a word in the sentence of protection. You notice how they surround the heart area, or where the heart would be. You realize now the amulets are not just for guidance. They are a barrier, a net, not against evil, against forgetting. Each one whispers, you are still yourself. You still matter. You still live. The linen wraps hold them close, but they do not hide them. Nothing here is truly hidden. only resting. The priest has not moved. He sits quietly at the edge of the space, but others now walk gently into the circle. One carries a feather. It is long, white, light as silence. She does not wave it. She does not place it. She lays it across the man's chest. A symbol for the weighing to come, for the judgment far beyond this room. Another brings a stone bowl filled with sand from the banks of a river. She sprinkles a line around the platform. A circle, unbroken. A boundary not to keep things out, but to keep the sacred moment in. You feel the shape of the ritual now, not just in space. In time, it is layered. Every object is a sentence. Every placement is a paragraph. This is a book being written not with ink, but with memory, scent, shape, and stillness. You take one last look at the jars. Their eyes do not move, but their presence follows. And you understand, he is not alone. Not now. Not ever. He is watched. He is remembered. He is protected. Something changes in the air. You don't hear it. You don't see it. You feel it like a shift in the depth of silence, like a tremor beneath still water, as if the chamber itself has turned slightly, aligning with something far older than stone. It is not dramatic. It is not sudden. But it is sure. The room no longer feels like the destination. It feels like a threshold. The veil, once faint, now stirs like fabric in a breeze. Not torn, not pierced, simply stirred. You step back instinctively. The mourners do not move. The priest, still seated, lowers his head, not in exhaustion, not in mourning, in reverence. Because the next part does not belong to the living. Not fully. The path ahead has opened, and someone is about to walk it. There is no light, no crack in the floor, no glow from below, just presence. You feel it rising like mist, not cold, not warm, but charged. The kind of presence that moves beneath the skin, behind the eyes, inside the lungs. It tastes like mineral. It smells like dust after rain. You know what it is. The Duos. The underworld. The other world. Not a place of fire, not a place of punishment. A place of passage. Where names are weighed, hearts are measured, and memories walk beside you like companions. You do not need to see it to know it has come. The one on the platform still wrapped, still silent shifts. Not in body, in being. His car stirs. Not startled or not confused, prepared. Like someone who has been waiting at the edge of a dream, knowing the moment would come when the dream would become a door. The priest rises. His movement is slow but not heavy. He steps forward once, then again. He does not speak. Instead, he holds out a small object. A figure. A guide. An image carved from ebony, worn smooth by countless hands. It is Anubis. The jackal-headed one. The opener of ways. The walker between worlds. The one who knows the secret paths beneath the stars. The priest places the figure gently beside the feet of the body. A symbol, a companion, a promise. Where the road begins, Anubis walks first. There is no ceremony now, or no chant, or no incense. Just stillness and space. You feel the weight of all the stories ever told about this moment, not heavy, but woven like threads into the very air. The Book of the Dead, the spells and images painted on tomb walls, the words whispered into linen as it wrapped round skin. Each one was a map, not of geography, of the soul, and the path the soul would take. You remember fragments, a boat upon the river, a gate guarded by fire, a hall with 42 judges, a feather and a heart, and a scale. You feel them now not as myth, but as memory. They are waiting, not to test, to receive. This is not a trial. It is a return, not backward, inward. The man who once breathed air now breathes something finer. The man who once walked upon stone now walks upon thought. You feel the room breathe with him, as though it too must accompany him partway. A mourner steps forward. A woman, older than she looks. She kneels beside the platform and lifts her hands, palms up. She does not speak. She does not cry, but her hands tremble. Not in fear, in farewell. The priest steps beside her. He does not touch her, but he places a folded cloth upon her palms, a square of linen, marked with a single symbol. A doorway. She nods, closes her fingers around it, and steps back. A second mourner brings a bowl. In it, dark water, almost black, with a hint of blue, the colour of night near the riverbank. He dips a reed into it, drips a single drop onto the floor beside the body. Then one more, and then one more. 3 points of darkness on pale stone, a constellation, a key, a spell without words. And now the light changes, not from any flame, from the way your eyes begin to see differently. Edges blur, shadows lengthen. The body on the platform seems to stretch not in shape, but in meaning. He's no longer here. He is no longer just this. He is walking through a gate no one sees, past torches that burn with memory, along a path of questions and mirrors. You glimpse a hall, vast, shadowed, filled with watchers who do not judge, they remember. And at its centre, the scales. One side the feather of Mat, truth, balance, harmony. The other his heart, not the organ. The essence, the weight of what he has loved, what he has lost, what he has carried in silence. You feel a hush so deep it touches bone. And then peace, not triumph, not fear, just peace, as though the scales have stilled, and all is in balance. The figure of Anubis stands beside him, leads him onward, past the hall, past the gate, toward fields that do not wither, toward water that does not dry, toward songs that never forget your name. And the room, it remains, but lighter, as though something that was holding its breath has exhaled. The mourners do not cheer. They do not cry. They simply sit and breathe and know the path has been taken, and the traveller walks still. The path has opened. The traveller has gone, but the room does not empty. It breathes differently now, not with grief, not with finality, but with the soft, echoing weight of memory. You feel it hanging in the air like steam after a long bath, like dust floating in light. It clings not to the body on the platform, but to the people still standing nearby. The living, the ones who remain, they do not rush forward. There is no crowding, no scramble. Each one moves in slow ripples like leaves on a pond stirred by breath. The woman with the wrapped figurine now holds it closer to her chest. She does not cry. Her eyes are open, wide, but unfocused. She is not looking at the platform. She is looking inward. You can tell. She is remembering. Not just moments, but small things. The way his hands tied bundles of reeds when no one was watching. The way he said her name, not the sound, but the rhythm of it. The way he listened, even when he didn't agree. She's replaying the stories that no one else will tell. Not because they are secrets, because they are hers. A man kneels at the edge of the circle. His shoulders shake slightly. You do not hear a sob, only breath. He's holding a tool, a wooden handle smoothed by years of use. It must have belonged to the man who lies still. He is not offering it. He is gripping it, as if it anchors him here. As if letting it go would mean floating into the same river that has already taken his friend. Not death, but distance. Another mourner lights a thin strip of resin. It flares, then settles. The smoke rises like a question, and the scent, warm, bitter, deep, fills the space. You feel it in your throat before your lungs. Frankincense, maybe. Or something older. Something that does not belong to this world alone. The priest watches from his place near the wall. He says nothing. He does not need to. The ritual has ended, but grief does not follow rules. It does not step aside politely when the ceremony is done. It lingers, not to torment, to remind that love leaves marks, that memory is a muscle, and that real loss is not the absence of someone. It is the presence of what you can no longer touch. A boy no older than 12 walks toward the platform. He does not hesitate. In his hands a small, flat stone, scratched with something. You cannot read it. He places it near the feet, steps back, does not look away. He has learned something today. Not about death, about staying, about standing, about witnessing. You wonder what he will carry from this room, what story he will whisper into someone's ear in 20 years, what shape the man on the platform will take in that retelling. Because this is how the dead live on. Not just in rituals, but in retelling, in re-remembering, in reshaping the silence into story. The woman with the figurine speaks now. One word, you do not know its meaning, but it is soft, and it lands like a pebble in water, sending out rings, invisible but wide. Others echo her, the same word. Once, twice, then silence again. It feels like a closing line. Not the end of the story, just the end of this page. And still no one leaves. Because it's not time yet. There's something else. Not obligation. Not custom. Something slower. Grief does not happen all at once. It arrives in layers. And in this room, the layers have only just begun to unfold. You feel them like wind. The first time someone reaches for him in conversation and realizes he's not there the moment they pass his doorway and forget, for a moment, why it's closed. The laughter that stops halfway through because it reminds them of his laugh. These are not parts of a ritual. They are parts of living. And the living carry the weight. Not always heavily, but always. The priest finally stands. He walks to the platform. Not to perform, just to place one hand on the linen wrapping. Flap open still. A blessing. Maybe a goodbye. Also possible. But more than that, an act of joining. As if to say, you are not alone then. You're not alone now. He steps away. The oil bowl is burned low. Its flame flickers. It will go out soon. No one rushes to refill it. Let it end. Let this moment shift gently into the next. You close your eyes, just for a breath. And when you open them again, the body is the same, the people are the same, but something is lighter. Not gone, just ready. Ready to carry. Ready to hold. Ready to walk out of this room and into the world again, with hands changed and breath deeper and hearts a little heavier and a little more full. This is how the living walk forward. Not because they forget, but because they remember. The flame gutters once as then again, then fades into smoke. Its light doesn't vanish, it folds into shadow, gentle, accepting, as if the fire understands that its task is complete. And with it, something in the room exhales. There is no announcement, no call to rise, but the mourners begin to shift. Not quickly, not with sudden purpose, more like waves moving back from the shore, soft and slow, leaving behind wet sand and faint footprints. The room is quieter now, not in sound, in energy, the kind of quiet that follows long, full silence, the kind of quiet that stays behind the eyes and ears, even when footsteps resume. Someone begins to fold the cloths, one at a time, not stacked, not rushed, just folded, edges aligned, creases followed, each motion an act of care, not habit. As though the linen still holds memory, the scent of resin, the heat of hands, the stillness of vigil. Another person extinguishes the braziers. He does not pour water, he uses a lid, simple and bronze. He places it gently over the flames. You hear the soft click of seal meeting metal. Then quiet. The smoke lingers, not unpleasant. It curls upward toward the ceiling, carrying the last warmth of the space. Two others begin to lift the smaller offering bowls. They do not empty them. They cradle them. Each object, each petal, each grain of incense is part of something now not just ritual but memory. You can feel how the room resists change. Not defiantly, just softly, like a dream that doesn't want to end. But it must. The platform will not stay here forever. The body has a journey still ahead, a tomb, a resting place, a chamber lined with text and colour and carved stars. But that comes later. For now, the space is being gently returned to the world of the living. Someone brushes the floor. You almost don't see them. They move low, slow, a hand-woven broom guiding the fine dust toward the corners. They do not sweep the sand circle around the platform. That remains. The circle is not dirt. It is memory. Another person places a small wooden box at the foot of the platform. Inside, the tools of the priest. The reed stylus, the copper blade, the green god, wrapped again in linen. The box is closed. Not locked. Not sealed. Just closed. The priest walks once around the platform. Only once. His steps are evened. He carries a small vessel of water. From the Nile, perhaps. He sprinkles a few drops at each corner of the mat. 1, 2, 3, 4. You hear it. Not the splash. The breath of stone drinking water. Then silence again. Someone extinguishes the torches one by one. They do not snuff them harshly. They let each flame dim itself. A twist of the wick, a narrowing of light, and then just the golden afterglow left on the walls. Even that begins to fade. You look at the canopic jars. They remain untouched. No one moves them. No one covers them. They stay watchers to the end. You wonder if they will travel with him, or remain here, guardians of what was left behind. The priest finally speaks. Not a speech. A phrase, low, slow. It means something like, the night has done its work. And yes, it has. Not loudly, not brightly, but deeply. You watch as the final mourner steps away. She pauses at the doorway, looks back, then places her fingers briefly on the stone frame. Not for luck, not for ritual, for connection. A small I was here. You know the feeling. You step toward the center of the room. Not into it, just near enough. The air still holds warmth, still holds shape. You do not touch the platform. You do not speak. You just breathe in once, then turn. You walk slowly from the chamber. Behind you, soft footsteps echo your own, but they do not rush you. They keep your rhythm. Outside, the light is different, paler, filtered, as if the world beyond this room is trying not to startle you. And in that moment, you realize something simple but vast. The room was not sacred because of what it contained. It was sacred because of what it allowed. Time, silence, witnessing, letting go. And now you carry it, not as a burden, as a softness. A reminder that care leaves marks. That farewell is a slow ritual, and that even after the tools are packed, the lights dimmed, and the last word spoken, something remains. Something always remains. The air feels different the moment you cross the threshold. It's not colder, not warmer, just wider. As if the space beyond the ritual chamber has been waiting patiently, not demanding your return, simply keeping a quiet place for you, should you choose to come back. The passage narrows behind you. Stone walls smooth with wear, no torchlight now, just the soft gleam of natural light, filtered, brushed across the stone like diluted paint. Your feet find the floor easily. You're not sure if it's the same stone you walked on before. It probably is. But you are not the same walker. Each step now carries weight not heavy, but aware. Aware that something sacred has just been witnessed. That your breath once moved through a room filled with silence and presence. That your eyes once held the image of a body resting between two worlds. You do not feel haunted. You feel held. The corridor opens into a larger space, and here the world begins to return. Color, sound, life. A reed mat rests near the entrance. Someone has left a vessel of water beside it, wide-mouthed, filled to the brim, reflecting the slatted light above. You kneel, not because it's required, because it feels right. You dip your fingers into the water. It's cool, clear, soft against the skin. You press it to your forehead. then to your chest. Not a ritual you were taught, just a motion that feels like a bridge between places. As you rise, a figure passes nearby, not rushing. A young man, perhaps a worker or a scribe. He nods once, respectfully. His eyes do not ask where you've been. They already know. This place has its own quiet understanding. No one here demands stories. They trust that memory will do its work in time. You step through a shaded courtyard. Papyrus plants rise from a basin of still water. Their tips dance lightly in the breeze, no urgency, just movement. Birdsong flits between the shadows. Not loud, almost like breath given shape. A woman sweeps the corner path, not because it is dirty, because motion is part of care. You pause near a low wall. The city lies just beyond it. Not far, but not close either. You can hear life-distant voices, a cart's creak, the bark of a dog. And yet, it feels gently wrapped, like the end of a dream that hasn't fully dissolved. A man approaches, older, cloaked, calm. He says nothing, just sits beside you. For a moment, neither of you move. Then he speaks, not loud. Did you see him? You nod. He does not ask what you saw. Instead, he says, he was always good with silence. You let that settle and realize this man knew him. Perhaps not well, perhaps only once, but enough to carry one sentence. And now he's placed it in your hands. You carry that too, now. Another mourner walks past a girl with a painted jug. She glances at you, then smiles. Brief, real. She knows where you've been. She knows you'll carry something with you from there. So will she. So will they all? The sun has climbed higher now. Its light is softer, not yet harsh. You feel its warmth touch your forearms, your cheek. You feel the texture of it golden, almost tactile, like cloth drying in afternoon air. Somewhere, a tray clinks. Clay cups being gathered. Perhaps tea, perhaps nothing more. But the sound is tender. Everything feels tender now. You walk toward the gate. It isn't grand, just wood bound with bronze. It's half open. No one guards it. No one needs to. The moment you pass through, the world grows louder, not rude, just awake. A child laughs. A hawker calls. A dove bursts upward from a basket and flutters toward the rooftops. And yet, you are still wrapped in the quiet. The quiet walks with you. It doesn't shield you. It joins you. You pass by a market stall. The vendor does not greet you. He is trimming dates, laying them in a neat row. The scent sweet, fermented, warm rises in the air, and with it, a thought. Even in death, the sweetness of life endures. You feel the thought settle in your chest. Not sharp, not sentimental, just true. You turn a corner. The narrow street curves toward the river. You can smell it now, deep, slow, old. Its scent is not just water, it is memory, movement, a rhythm older than speech. Children run across the stone path. Their feet slap lightly. One of them turns mid-run and shouts your name. You're surprised. You didn't know he knew it. But somehow, in this place, names linger longer than expected. You wave, and in that gesture, feel something shift. The ceremony is done. But the story continues. Not in the tomb. Not in the afterlife. Here. In footsteps. In glances. In the small rituals of daily return. The dead do not disappear. They fold into the fabric of the world. In the shape of a reed. In the sound of incense crackling. In the silence between two shared breaths. And you walk. You walk a little slower now, but a little steadier, because once, in a chamber of stone and stillness, you witnessed a soul being carried across the threshold. And now, you carry that witnessing with you, not as a burden, as a lantern, a softer golden light, not to guide the dead, to remind the living. The street you follow isn't marked. It doesn't need to be. Your feet know the path, so does your breath, so do your thoughts, even when they wander. The sun is gentle now, no longer rising, not yet falling. It casts long, thin shadows, but warms the tops of walls and the backs of your hands. The houses here are familiar. Low, flat-roofed, their windows shaped like half-closed eyes. You've walked this way many times, but not like this. Now, each corner seems quieter, each doorway holds a little more stillness. And the people, the ones you've known, the ones who've known you, greet you not with questions, but with a different kind of glance. A glance that says we know where you've been, and we're here. You turn into the courtyard where the man, the one who now rests in linen and memory once lived. There is no grand sign. Only a single reed mat leaning by the wall and a pot of water for washing hands. It smells like crushed mint and warm clay. Inside, the light is dim but golden. And they are already gathered. Not many. 5, perhaps 6. Some sit on cushions, some lean against pillars. One stirs a small pot of lentils over coals. They look up when you arrive. Not startled. Not waiting. Just ready. You sit. No one says your name. No one needs to. The woman who once called him brother offers you a piece of bread, small, warm, folded with herbs. You take it, not to eat, just to hold. Its warmth steadies your fingers. Someone pours water. You drink slowly. It tastes like stone and sky, and silence, and the hush of a tomb that no longer needs to whisper. They begin to speak, not all at once, not in order, just softly like stirring sand with fingertips. One remembers how he once carried a wounded ibis for 3 days until it flew again. Another recalls the way he used to trace the shapes of stars on the roof with charcoal. He said the night sky was a story we're always forgetting, she murmurs. You close your eyes. You see him there crouched, dusty, grinning. You almost hear his voice, but it's softer now, folded into the voices of others. A boy enters, barefoot, holding 2 woven fans. He hands them out, one by one. The breeze they make is light but real, and with it comes a ripple of laughter. Low, genuine, brief but rooted. No one forces it. It grows from within the room, like a flower finding sunlight. You think he would have liked this. Not the mourning, the remembering. The way they hold him, not as an absence, but as a shape the room still makes space for. There are more stories. The time he mistook salt for incense. The song he hummed when he thought no one heard. The strange word he made up when real ones failed. Each memory is a layer, not of armor, of softness. You realize this is another ritual, not carved in stone, but etched in breath and bread and warm bowls passed from hand to hand. The woman who gave you the bread speaks again. "He's still here," she says, not as a metaphor, not as comfort, as truth. You believe her, because this is what the dead become if we let them. Not ghosts, not shadows, but notes in the songs we hum without realizing. A way of tilting our heads, a pause between words. You set the bread down and feel your shoulders ease. Someone brings a small jar clay with a wax seal. She breaks it. The scent is sharp and earthy. Pickled lemons. His favorite. They pass it around. Each person dips one finger in, just a touch on the tongue. The taste is bright, unexpected, alive, and in that taste he returns again. Not in body, in the way everyone blinks a little, smiles a little, remembers the exact face he made when he first tasted it. This is how we keep them. Not in stone, not in script, but in senses. The sound of their steps, the scent of their sleeves, the taste they left behind in laughter. The courtyard fills with quiet again. Not heavy, not sad, just full. The light has shifted. It now slants through the doorway in long beams, catching dust in golden threads. One of the younger children begins to draw shapes in it, swirling fingers through the floating particles. Someone hums, a tune with no words, no clear rhythm, but familiar, and without realizing it, others join. You don't know the song, but your breath begins to match it, and that is enough. Because grief, you realize, is not the absence of joy. It is joy remembered with the edges softened, warmed, made sacred. The stories taper off, not because there are no more, because the room has held enough for now. And you, all of you, are full, not fed, not finished, just full. The woman with the bread lays a hand on your arm. Her touch is dry, gentle, grounded. She does not need to say anything. Neither do you. Outside, a bird calls. Short. High. A sound that slices the stillness, but does not break it. The day is not over, but something in it has come to rest. And so have you. The sky has begun to melt. Not with fire, with hush. The colours shift not in bold streaks, but in breath blue folding into purple, purple dissolving into velvet. The roofs of the village turn soft at the edges, as if drawn with coal and then smudged with a fingertip. You feel the change long before you see it, in the way the birds fall quiet, in the way the warm stone beneath your feet now exhales its heat upward. The world begins to slow, and so do you. You walk without direction. You're not searching. You're settling. The streets are thinner now, less crowded, more space between footsteps, more room for thought. A woman passes with a clay jar balanced on her shoulder. She nods once, then disappears into the folds of dusk. No one hurries. This is not a time for that. Shadows lengthen not like teeth, but like blankets, soft, wrapping, still. You turn down a quiet lane. It leads nowhere in particular. That's what draws you in. To the left, a low wall. Beyond it, the silhouettes of date palms swaying slowly. Not from wind, from remembering. You pause, and for a long moment you just listen. Not for sound, for stillness. The kind that settles behind the ribs, beneath the thoughts. You find a place to sit. It's not a bench, just a wide stone near a doorway. Warm from the day, you lower yourself carefully. Let your hands rest in your lap. Let your spine lengthen. Let your gaze drift not toward anything, but through everything. A child's voice calls in the distance. It echoes once, then fades. A window opens above you. Faint light spills out amber and gentle. You smell something faint. Spices, perhaps, or dust warmed by oil. Inside, someone begins to sing. You don't know the tune. It's not for you, but you recognize the shape of it like rocking a child, like walking a path worn smooth by memory. You close your eyes, not to sleep, to soften, and in that softening, something shifts. The day loosens its grip, and the dream begins to arrive. Not like a storm, like a tide. You are not pulled under. You are carried. Inside, you find yourself walking again, but not alone. Someone walks beside you. Their presence is not sharp. It is rounded. A weight you know without needing to define. They do not speak. Neither do you. But you share a silence that feels like language. Around you, the land glows faintly, not bright, but luminous. As if the sand remembers starlight. Shapes drift in the distance. They are not threatening. They are not clear, but they know you. And you know them. The man you mourned, he's here too. Not in body, in gesture. The way the wind lifts in sudden greeting, the way the stones hum when you pause too long, the way your breath slows when you think of nothing in particular. This is where grief becomes gentle. Not because it has vanished, because it has found rhythm. You feel a touch on your shoulder. You do not turn. You do not need to. The message is simple. You are not alone. You've never been alone. You will never be alone. You wake just enough to know you are lying down. On your back, breath low, fingers soft against linen. You're not cold. The air is cool, but kind. Outside, a dog barks once. A palm leaf rustles. And then, quiet again. You smile barely, because now you know. The ceremony never ends. It just changes shape. From chant to silence, from fire to breath, from goodbye to dream. The morning air is pale. It has not yet decided whether to warm or cool. You walk before the sun has fully risen. The sky is still rinsed with silver. The sand beneath your sandals carries the faintest chill. You are not alone. No one speaks, but they walk with you 4, 5 others, soft steps, long shadows. The path curves slowly away from the village. Out toward the hills, the quiet places, the places where the dead sleep. The basket is light in your hands. Inside linen, oil, bread, salt. Nothing grand, just enough. Offerings not for ceremony, but for presence. The tomb lies nestled in the slope, a dark mouth carved into dust-coloured stone. Its entrance is low, not meant to be grand, but its silence is deep. You pause at the threshold. A moment. A breath. Then you step in. The stone cools the air immediately. The deeper you go, the softer everything becomes. Sounds fall away, light filters thinly from above. You light no torch. You do not need one. The tomb is not large, just a chamber and a smaller room beyond. The walls bear faded pigment. A palm, a reed, a sky of stars. No names, only symbols. The ones who built this place knew the dead did not need names here. Only memory, only meaning. He lies as he was placed, wrapped, still. You feel no fear, only kind of gravity gentle, but sure. You kneel. The others do too. One by one, they open their hands. A palm of salt, a drop of oil, a breath into the air. You take the linen from the basket and fold it slowly. Set it beside the stone shelf. It will stay here. Not to cover, to accompany. You place the bread gently by his feet. Crumbs dust the stone. A blessing in imperfection. No one sings. No one prays aloud. But the silence between you all feels full, like the space between waves. Like the pause before a child speaks their first word. You look at him, not the body, the shape, the echo, and you think, he is not cold, he is not far, he is folded now into earth and memory and the soft grain of stone. One of the mourners reaches forward and places a thin reed at the head of the shelf. It bends slightly, almost bows, then stills. Someone else pours a few drops of water onto the floor. They darken the stone for a moment, then disappear. But their mark remains. You don't speak, but your hand finds the wall. You press your fingers against a painted shape. The pigment flakes slightly. You do not mind. Everything here is meant to fade. Fading is not forgetting. Fading is returning. You think of all the mornings ahead. The meals. The songs. The silences. And how we will live inside them. Not as absence, as rhythm. The others rise. One by one. No signals, no commands. Just a shared knowing. You rise too. Before you leave, you look back once. He does not move, but the space around him seems quieter now. Not empty. At peace. You step into the passage again. The light has changed. Brighter. Warmer. It fills the corridor like breath returning to lungs. You emerge into the day, not blinking, just receiving. The breeze lifts your sleeve. The sun kisses your neck. The others begin to walk down the slope. You linger for one more breath, and you whisper not to be heard, just to offer, I'll carry you. Not a promise, a fact. And as you turn, you feel it, a weight in your chest. Not sorrow, stillness, like the hush between heartbeat and breath. You walk back alone, not by choice, not by design. It simply happens that way. The others take different paths, or stop to rest, or vanish gently behind the corners of morning. Your footsteps sound softer than they should. The ground is dry, but each step feels cushioned not by dust, but by silence. The village approaches like a dream returning, not all at once. In pieces. The outline of a roof, the tilt of a familiar door, the sound of someone grinding grain behind a half-drawn curtain. Nothing has changed, and yet everything feels changed. You pass the well. A woman draws water in silence. Her eyes meet yours. She nods. The rope creaks as it turns. You walk on. The smell of bread rises from one doorway, soap from another. You hear laughter, brief, distant. A dog barks once, then forgets why. It is mid-morning, but it feels like a beginning. You reach your home. It waits. Not expectantly. Patiently. You step through the doorway and the light shifts, becomes more golden, more still. Inside, the air is warmer. You leave your sandals at the threshold. Not a habit. An offering. You pour a bowl of water. Rinse your hands, your face, the back of your neck. The water darkens slightly. You watch it settle. You prepare tea. Not for anyone, not even for yourself. For the room, for the silence, for the moment. The steam rises slowly. You breathe it in. It tastes of leaves and earth and time. You sit on the floor near the open window. Sunlight stripes the mat beneath you. The shadows shift, slow and soft like wings moving behind thin curtains. And you feel something you didn't expect. Not joy. Not relief. Not sorrow. A kind of stillness that hums quietly inside your chest. The shape of space after something sacred has passed through. You close your eyes. Not to sleep. To feel. Your breath moves like water over stone. In, out, slow, even. You think of the tomb, of the hands that folded linen, of the words left unspoken but understood. You think of the bread, the salt, the oil. You think of the man who now rests in stone, not cold, not forgotten, folded into memory, held in ritual, carried gently forward by those who remain. You place your hands on your knees. You let your spine soften. You listen. The wind outside brushes the roof. A bird lands on the sill. The sound of footsteps on a far street. Everything continues, and you are part of it. Not apart, not observing, not separate. Part. Your grief has shape now, not jagged, not sharp. It fits in your chest like a smooth stone worn, familiar. You will carry it, not with burden, with care. Someone knocks on the frame of your doorway. You turn. It's a child. The one who shouted your name before. He holds something in his hands. A broken reed. He offers it like treasure. You take it. Not because it's valuable, because it was offered. You smile. He grins, then runs. The silence returns. But it's not empty. It carries everything. The steps you took, the tears you didn't shed, the hands you held, the stillness you breathed. You stand, stretch slowly, set the reed on the windowsill. It leans against the wood, still, fragile, present. You begin to sweep the floor, not because it's dirty, because the day has started, and life, in its quiet rhythm, calls you back. Not loudly, not suddenly, but steadily. A bowl to wash, a door to open, a letter to carry, a plant to water. The world has not forgotten you, and you have not forgotten him. But you are here now, fully, softly, completely, and the dead, they do not ask us to stop living. They ask us to live in ways that remember them. With grace, with breath, with care. You open the window wider. The wind stirs the mat. The scent of herbs rises from the corner. The light touches your hands. And the day continues. Evening returns like a familiar hand. It doesn't knock. It rests gently on your shoulder and waits. You feel it settle across the courtyard, on the rim of the water jar, in the spaces between the chimes that hang above your doorway. The day is done, but it doesn't close, it softens. You sit with your back to the wall. The last light slides across your knees, golden, feathered, fleeting. You watch it without needing to capture it. It is enough to see. Your hands are folded in your lap. Not tense, just there. You breathe without thinking. You listen without expecting. And in the hush, memory rises. Not like a wave, like smoke. The way he used to hum while mending a clay bowl. The way he tilted his head when he listened, as if trying to find the shape of your thoughts. The way his hands moved not quickly, but surely, with that quiet strength that never asked to be admired. You remember the time he gave you a date from his basket and said nothing, but waited until you tasted it just to see your smile. Small things, threaded things, they return without sorrow. They arrive like small birds landing one by one around you, and you do not move. You let them perch. Let them stay. Let them rest. You close your eyes, and the silence deepens. Inside that stillness, you feel something shift. A warmth behind your ribs. A weight at your collarbone. A breath not your own. He is not here, but he is not gone. You do not hear his voice, but the space where it once was is not empty. You speak his name, once, softly, not to summon, to return. And as you do, the wind stirs, just slightly, enough to lift a strand of your hair. Enough to make the chimes sing one soft note clear, simple, alone. And then silence again. You place your hand on your chest. Your heart is slow, not tired, at peace. You rise slowly. There is no rush. You light a small lamp, the same one he used to light on long nights. Its wick catches quickly. The flame is small, steady. You place it near the window. Let it speak to the darkness beyond. Not as a beacon, as a whisper. You take a cloth plane, well worn, and fold it carefully. Place it on the shelf by the door. He used to fold his like this. Even now, your fingers remember the pattern. One corner, then the next. Edges aligned, creases smoothed. You do not cry. You do not smile. You are simply here. And he is part of that. The day has settled into your bones now. Its weight has become warmth. You sit again. The stars begin to appear not all at once. Just one, then two. Scattered lights in the ceiling of the night. He once said the stars were like the backs of the gods, distant, glittering, watching without judgment. You believe him now more than ever. You watch them for a long time. Let them watch you. And when the lamp's oil runs low, you do not refill it. You let it dim. Let it flicker, let it fade. The dark comes in close, but it is not frightening. It is soft, familiar. You lie down. On the mat, The air still smells faintly of tea, of stone, of dusk. You pull the light cloth over your legs. It does not take long. Sleep comes quickly now. But before it does, just before you feel something near your hand, not touch, not sound, something else. Presence. And a thought arrives, slow and clear. Nothing is ever truly gone. Not the breath, not the fire, not the one you loved. They return, not in shape but in rhythm. In silence, in stillness, in you. You exhale, and the world exhales with you.